lost your mitts.
What did we learn about the welcome?
It's going to be very short.
So we should start up here
Start
whenever
up
you.
here, yeah, in like
'Cause if you want to. Hi, Chopper. So, short or long?
Short, it's short. I just told Topper. So you guys can come up in like 5 minutes and,
Okay, just come on, my pen.
yeah.
I will do that. Thank you.
Good morning. You guys are always such a gabby bunch. Welcome to First Parish Brewster. Our worship theme this month is story. And here we cultivate liberating love by living with mindful intention, practicing kindness, and serving needs greater than our own. We try to be mindful, act with kindness, and serve needs greater than our own. It's such a pleasure to be with all of you this morning. If you are visiting for the first time, I'd like to show you that in front of your seat where the hymnals are, there should be a little card there that you can fill out, and we can pass in. There's Skip waving it for all of you. If you fill that out and hand it in to the welcome table down the hall here, we can get you connected and show you more about this congregation and what we're all about. Invite you to also stay for a coffee hour. We'd love to have you. Would you please all take a deep breath in with me right now? And I say that knowing you have all turned off your cell phones already. Let us be present together the next hour.
This is not a race. You don't have to run. You might even slow it down. Take a look around instead of chasing everyone. No point to make. If when it's said and done, you know in your heart that your song is sung. Don't go with your song still inside you. Let it guide you every day. We all know that it's good to be humble, but don't mumble your life away. You could lose it all. You would still feel like you won. You might fall out of the sky, learn to fly just by reaching for the sun. No need to fret about regret. When it's said and done, you know in your heart that your song is sung. Don't go with your song still inside you. Let it guide you every day. We all know it's good to be humble, but don't grumble your life away. Okay, I need a little teamwork here. La 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 la, la 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 la, lowly lowly low, lowly lowly low, la 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 la, la 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 la, lowly lowly low low, lowly low lowly low. Rub-a-da, 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 scrub.
Rubbity, 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 scrub.
Hop-a-da, hop-a-ba-do.
Hoppity, hop, hop, a do.
Hooba-da, 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 hum. Hoobity, 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 ho.
Hoppity, 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 ho. Don't go with your song still in
Good morning. I don't know about you, and I don't mean to be partisan here, but the first 4 Trump years, I feel like my nervous system was on high alert all the time. Mainly because I felt like there was a lack of kindness showing up in the world. And now he's back in office, and I feel like the same thing's happening again. And I was telling someone that the first time around, I watched every British baking show possible. And I don't really like to bake, but they're kind to each other, right? Anyway, so this is second round. And it reminded me of this image that went viral a couple years ago. And it was of this guy with a yarmulke on the subway in New York City. Imagine a yarmulke. And sitting next to him was this African-American kid who was like in his early 20s, and evidently he did this. And the person across the aisle took a picture of it because this guy just let him do it. Anyway, the image went viral. And I've always thought that's so interesting, right? Because people think of everybody on the subway like New Yorkers not really being kind to each other. And they hunted down this guy. And they found him, and they asked him, like, why didn't he make a move, or what did he say? And he said, well, he seemed weary and exhausted, and I have big shoulders. Reminds me, friends, that every day we have so many acts of kindness that happen to us that I think we forget about them. People who say hi to us, people who open a door for us, people that come over and listen to a story of ours. It doesn't really matter what it is, but I think if we added it all up, inevitably, every day, we probably have more acts of kindness than we have somebody being mean to us. And in these times, I think that's one of the reasons that we come to church. I'm not kidding. I think that we can be agents of kindness out into the world, and the world needs us to show up that way day after day after day, considering what it feels like all the time. Am I right? Good, so go to it as soon as you leave. All right? Welcome to our celebration of life. It's so good to be with all of you. Before you rise, and as you are willing and able, would you please turn and greet your neighbor this morning before we sing our first hymn?
All right, we're going to sing a song without looking at anything. So no words in your hymnal, no words on the back, but here's how it goes. It's called I Start My Day. And we sang this a long time ago. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love. That's what I get more of. Is love. So let's sing all that. I start my day with love. When I start my day with going to start our day with peace, and we're going to feel the sweet release. But I'll call the whole thing, and then you'll sing it back to me. And the chorus goes like this. Love, love, love. Let's try it. Love, love, love. And then the second line is love, love, love. Love, love, love. And we sing all that twice. So, here we go. It's mostly a copycat song. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. Sing it again. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. Now the chorus. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Now you have to listen. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. Your turn. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. Sing it again. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. And the chorus. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. My day with joy. Everything I do is infused with joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love.
We're going to light our chalice this morning because Benji's coming up to light it for us. Yay! Hold it. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together, and it lit on the first time this week. Benji has magic. Please join with me in reciting our affirmation. We believe in love.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
We believe in truth.
The quest for truth is the sacrament.
We believe in helping others.
And service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
To the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
So today we're going to tell a story about a tiger. There was once a beautiful and powerful tiger who walked through the jungle, and a kind of grumpy couple lived by the jungle. And they captured her and put her in a cage. And so she was just lying around kind of lonely. And they fed her every day with a bowl of water and some food. And one day she looked at her reflection in the water and said, I look pretty good. I think I'm beautiful. And the guy came by and said, no, you're not. You're ugly. And then she was walking around the cage one day and could feel her muscles and thought, I might be pretty strong. And the wife came by and said, no, you're weak. You're a pathetic tiger. And so she believed the story and was just lying around kind of dejected. And one day they went away and a lion came by and said, you are the most beautiful, powerful tiger I have ever seen. And the tiger said, don't make fun of me. I know I'm ugly and weak. And the lion said, no, actually, you are beautiful and powerful. And I bet that you can run out of this cage and get yourself free. And she said, do you really think I can do it? And the lion said, absolutely. So she got up and she ran as fast as she can out of the cage. And she was free. And she looked back and realized the cage wasn't even locked. And she said, I've been trapped in here all the time by a story that wasn't mine. And the lion said, yes, those traps can really get you, but the truth will set you free. Now, that couple was mean, but sometimes even people who like us tell us a story that's not ours. Maybe they see something in us that they want to emphasize, but it's not really our story. Or maybe it was their story that didn't really happen, and so they want us to do it. But I know that you guys are growing up, and you can feel into your own story. And when you figure it out, you can stick to it. So let's sing our children out.
That was great. It's a time in our service where we offer our heartfelt gratitude to organizations in our community and beyond that share similar values to our own. This morning's offering is a split plate with the National Network of Abortion Funds. The National Network of Abortion Funds is a network of 100 abortion funds through grassroots organizations that support people seeking abortion access. This organization was nominated by the Reproductive Rights Task Force. Let us remember that the religious person is the grateful person, and the grateful person is the generous person. We'll now take the offering mindfully and gratefully. Please join with me in the spirit of prayer and meditation, and get yourself comfortable in your seat. Perhaps put your feet firmly on the ground. Take a deep breath in with me. Let us turn inward together. This is from Reverend Maureen Kilrun. Holy are the places of the dream, the places over the rainbow, where all children are wanted and all people are fed, where colors are the source of celebration and youth and age come to be the table as one. Holy are the places of the dream. Holy are the places of change and pain, the places of our struggle, where the rivers of our lives run white and fast, and we hold on, and grow. Holy are the places of change and pain. Holy are the places of connection, the places where we risk ourselves, where hands, touch souls, touch minds, and in awareness still, we change our lives. Holy are the places of connection. Blessed is the ground on which we stand. Holy and whole making is in this place. May the silence we have shared continue to hold and heal us all. Amen. I had a panic for a second that I told all of you to turn off your cell phone, and then I did turn it off. A friend of mine gave me this wonderful book called Wait. It's by Janet Winstrom. She said it rocked her world. Now, when a friend gives you a book that says it rocked your world, you're a little obligated to read it too. It's a story of Atlas. Atlas, if you remember, was condemned to hold the cosmos and the earth on his back because he started and participated in a war against the gods. Wait is kind of this rewritten version of Atlas, and as I said, because it rocked her world, I felt obligated to read it. And I also read it, though, because I'm fascinated with myth. Not in the normal way we think of myth as something that is untrue, but understanding myth like the Greeks did, which is myth is not about something that didn't happen. It's about something that happens over and over and over again. Did you hear that? Myth is not about something that didn't happen. It's about something that happens over and over and over again. So I read this book. And not only did it rock my world a bit, but it also opened up a new way for us to see ourselves actually in that Atlas story. This is definitely not the usual take on this story. And that usual take, if we think about it, we all know, focuses on the weightiness of the earth, right, and the cosmos, and the responsibilities and burdens that we all carry. For instance, we may be responsible and experience the weight of child support or rent and mortgage and a car. We may feel the responsibility of our kids' college payments or our own college payments. We may feel the weight and responsibility of an adult child who moved back home with us, or a business loan or a credit card debt, or paying for daycare or groceries or assisted living. Some of us may actually carry the weight of worrying about and the responsibility for a sibling or a child or a parent who has a mental health issue or a developmental disability or addiction or a life-threatening disease or chronic illness. With all the worries and perceived threats, financial obligations and family complications and stress, life can indeed feel heavy. Any of you had that feeling before? But here's the thing, actually, about Janet Winstrom's retelling of Atlas. The words and metaphors related to responsibility are nowhere to be found. Instead, we encounter this kind of like strange and interesting focus on time. I want you to listen to this passage, and it's from Atlas's point of view. Here's what he says. Once the word was given from Zeus, there were teams of horses and oxen that began to move forward, dragging the cosmos behind it like a disc plow. And as that great ball was placed on top of me, pieces of time like dislodged, time splattered on my calf muscles and sinew in my thigh, I felt the world before it began, and the future marked me. I would always be there as the cosmos came near. The heat of it scorched my back, and I could hardly breathe. The soft tissue of my body was already hardening. The hideous vision of my life was robbing me of my life. Time was my Medusa. Time was turning me to stone. I do not know how long I crouched like this, petrified and motionless. So friends, do you hear that shift, actually? And more importantly, do you hear the new space, that like emotional, spiritual space it opens up for us? For me, that key of all of this lies in that phrase, I felt the world before it began and the future marked me. I could hardly breathe. Time was my Medusa. Time was turning me to stone. No longer are we talking about the weight of responsibility and worry. We're talking about and led into our struggle with the weight of time. And in particular, the weight of the past, as Windstrom puts it, turns us to stone. We know this, don't we? I mean, the weight of time passing, and not just that, but also the way this weight of the past turns our present into stone. One of the clearest examples of this came to me in my 20s, and I have held on to this story. I'm now in my late 50s. I've held on to this story for a long time. When I lived in Boulder, Colorado, I started an intergenerational theater company called The Mingled Ages. And I had actors who were 17 to 19 and 78 to 82. Now, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had this like gut feeling that if we came together and started telling stories to each other in a check-in, we could get a glimpse at what we might talk about that day that then could become the script. And the script was being created, as I said, from those collective stories. So one day, this woman named Mabel comes in and she pulls me aside before we had a check-in and she goes, I'm really off today. And I said, well, why are you off? And she goes, because I saw this in the mirror. And I'm like, well, your beautiful self, you mean? She goes, no. I mean, I looked in the mirror, and I realized I have been looking at my 35-year-old self. I looked in the mirror, and I see that Mabel. I see Mabel, who had elementary school kids at home, and Harold, my husband, who now isn't alive anymore. He's there in the mirror with me. I mean, in me. When I look in the mirror, he is there. The life that I had is what I see. That Mabel is there. That Mabel doesn't live by herself. She has a family who is home to her. This Mabel is weary and tired and needs to take a nap every day. And today I saw this, she said to me. This Mabel, without my kids in the house, without that life, I saw the shrunk version of myself and a weathered face where all the makeup comes up. I saw who I was. I'm old. I don't know how that happened. I want you to hear that again, what she said to me. I could only see this shrunk version of myself, weathered and old. Talk about being turned to stone. So in the face of this, I got to admit that I was a little startled and I had no idea what to say back to her. And at the time, my 20-year-old self mostly just felt the pain of that and the pain for her. But now, from the vantage point of being 58, there's more than pain. There's like this understanding, this connection even. And how could I not feel that connection? Because as I've gotten older, there have only been more and more moments of time whispering to me, move on. Here's the next step. Say goodbye. I don't know about you, but I remember every single time my kids, for the first time, got on the bus for kindergarten. And in particular, I remember the time that Nils got on the bus. He's my oldest kid. And he got on the bus and he was like, Mom, these are my people, right? And he like turns around and he gives me the love sign and I give him the love sign. And I said goodbye to him. But the truth was, I wasn't what I wanted to say, really. I wanted to tell him I was going to miss him. I wanted to tell him that he was remarkable and brave, that I needed more time to adjust to his expanding boyhood, his self-assurance, his friends. I wanted to tell him, or at least like shout to the universe, that I needed more time. I needed more time to release the love of our dance together before he turned and started dancing with the wider world. I had to say goodbye. And I stood there watching that damn bus go down the street, feeling myself turn to stone, wanting only to keep his little precious self in view. Seems getting stuck in these goodbyes is something we all struggle with, I think, over and over again in so many ways. We wrestle with the passing of time and the way it leaves us stuck and staring with disbelief. Now I can say that at the wrinkles on my face and, that get woven like into your hands, at the gray in our hair that seems to appear overnight, at bodies that don't function the same way that they used to at 20 or 50 or 70, correct? I had a past parishioner tell me once, he had his last kid go off to college, and he was saying, like, it hasn't really hit me, and I said goodbye, and I wasn't really processing it. And he said he was loading the dishwasher, actually he was unloading the dishwasher, and he realized there were no plastic cups in the dishwasher, and his daughter only drank out of plastic cups. And he said he had this moment of like, oh my God, she's gone. She's never going to come back the same way that she was when she left. I will never get that back again. And he said he just unloaded the dishwasher with tears coming down his face. Indeed, my other friend, the one that gave me this book, has also been stuck and turned to stone by time throughout her life. The weight of her past made it very hard to move forward or live in any place but the past. See, she had experienced sexual abuse and she struggled with mental illness, and then it had been misdiagnosed. She was homeless at one point in her life, and in her 30s, she got kicked in the mouth and she lost all of her teeth. So her entire life, from 30 on, she had dentures. She also struggled with addiction for years and years. Her past was heavy and weighty, and she carried it around like Atlas. It all makes me think about how the ancients, this is fascinating to me, the ancients believed in fate. You know why? Because they saw how hard it is for anyone to change or even shape their lives. Take that in for a moment. For them, it was only outside forces that shaped their path, with the weight of the past and the weight of the future being too weighty to shift even a little bit. So what do you do with all that weight, friends? How do we escape that feeling of fate, that feeling that the passing of time is only a burden, really, something too weighty to bear? Well, in both of the stories that I've told, both that of Atlas and of my friend Mabel, I think there are some clues to our way out and our way forward. I think first of Mabel's story, because it doesn't actually end with where I left it off. As I said, after Mabel told that story to me of looking in the mirror and being like horror struck, she wasn't looking at her 35-year-old self, she was looking at her 70-year-old self. And I had the wherewithal to say, when we all sat down, can you tell everybody that story? And she did. And all the elders are like, oh, I get that, right? And all the kids are like, what the hell? The elders clearly knew how hard it is to accept change because time, our life, sneaks up on us. The amount of times that people were like, when you have children, their age, right? That people were like, pay attention to that because it goes fast. And you're like, shut up, man. It does, right? Okay, anyway, they asked, Mabel was sharing this whole piece. And one of the kids, though, said to Mabel, tell us more about that 30-year-old self. Tell us about her. Now, I fully expected her to talk about like what she looked like, right? Or where she about how she felt. But she told us about who she was in the world. She told us about the clapboard house that she lived in at the edge of town, and that when you walked off that back porch, you'd like walk into the big Colorado expanse of sky. How when her kids were in elementary school, they lived out in the country and it took like 10 minutes to get to the bus stop, and she'd walk with them every day. And on the way back, she'd pick wildflowers, and she'd always do it no matter if there was sleet or snow or rain. And when she got back, she realized that she would take the shoes and line them up, her daughter's shoes in the mudroom, and her son's muddy boots from the barn, and her husband's dress shoes from work. And she talked about the 30-year-old Mabel who straightened shoes. She said she liked to align the shoes because no matter where her children were or her husband was, the shoes reminded her that they would walk back again. Then she said, that's the Mabel I've been seeing for years. That Mabel who believed and knew they'd soon come back. A couple weeks later, one of the kids asked Mabel, well, what do you see in the mirror today? And then she told us another story. So we had months of telling stories. 2 months later, she says, today I saw me in real time. And one of the elders, like on cue, said, well, tell us about that, Mabel. And she said, I saw these deep lines around my mouth, kind of like a form of a frown all the time, but I realized they're there because I smiled so much. And that, like, connected me. And I saw the me who lives in a small apartment, who can walk to the senior center, who watches Jeopardy every single night, and I have dessert before dinner because I can. And this Mabel goes to bed wherever she wants to and whenever she wants to and gets up whenever she wants to. This Mabel has the freedom to sleep in and the freedom to go visit her grandkids whenever she wants. So set her life based on how she feels in the moment, not on someone else's schedule. I was surprised how much I like this Mabel, she said. And then after a pause, she said, I think I've caught up to myself. When she was done, I'll never forget this because, they're like 17 and 18 and 19-year-olds. You never know really what's going to come out of their mouth. But one of them said to her, wow, thank you so much for sharing that. That was such a privilege to hear that story. Then we went on to another story. But something, oddly, had shifted for all of us. Because Mabel had dispelled the weight. She was no longer stuck in stone by time. And here's the thing, friends. I'm positive she did it because she was asked to share her story, because someone was interested in the now Mabel. And that got her interested in the now Mabel too. The message for me is simple. And I say this all the time, so you're probably like, come on, Karn, you just said that last week. Which I did. But it's a good point. We can't do any of this alone. You just can't. Can't easily put down our past stories and pick up our present stories all on our own. We are odd creatures that way. Alone, the past has this like gravitational pull that is hard to resist. It's like someone has to step in between us and the past for that gravitational pull to be short-circuited. It's all got me wondering how I ask people about their present selves, and so do so in a way that assumes their current self is more than just a pile of their past stories, rather than a new story budding. We all have a new story budding all the time. We're not done with this. So that's number one. The one thing I want us to remind ourselves, and all of us, through our interest in the new story budding in people, we have the power to get them interested in that new emerging story too, and even notice it for the first time. The other way I think we can escape the weight of the past is to see it more than a burden is found in this rewritten version of Atlas. You see, in Winstrom's telling of this story, something like surprising happened when Atlas let that spinning ball of time fall from his back because he put the weight down. Here's how she tells it. Atlas crawled out from under the earth an inch forward and then suddenly fell flat on his face with his hands over his ears, waiting for like a crash, for a disaster to happen. Atlas paused, rigid and with doom, but nothing happened. Atlas raised his head and turned over, stood up, and stepped back. He started to walk away, but then pivoted around and looked back at his burden, but there was no longer a burden. There was only the diamond of the earth gardened in the wilderness of space, glittering all around him. And what enabled him to see the world of time as a diamond, not a burden? Well, here's what Winstrom says, right? Long ago, this violent planet, radioactive rock, he had learned to call it home. Atlas now loved the earth, the crumble of the soil between his fingers, the budding of spring, the slow fruit of autumn. That's it right there. In order to escape that feeling that passing time is a burden, you've got to learn, as Atlas did, to love the journey, the expanse of it, every little piece of it. Got to put down our narrow views that focus only on the handful of slices of our past that we mourn or that cause us pain or hold us captive. And we've got to pick up a new, wider perspective that views the journey as whole. It's only then that the past really starts to glitter. I need to tell you about a friend, one of my best friends, who has saved me over and over again. She wrestles with time and the burden and disappointment she feels with it sometimes, and I've asked her if it's okay to share this story, and she said yes. But I want to share this because she gets this turning back and sees the glitter better than most of us does. She really gets the glitter, and at times, more often than she knows, her seeing the glitter helps me see the glitter of my own life. So as I said, my friend struggles at times with regret and disappointment over some of the choices that she made. She studied abroad in college, which she loved, but she had her head down the whole time, and all of her friends went around and indulged in their wanderlust, and she acted like a 50-year-old. She went on to graduate school and was kind of a mule the entire time. Again, people in her 20s, all having fun. That's not what she did. At times, it has made her hold on to the past, and the weight of it gets her down. She struggles at times of letting go of that past because it frustrates her that she lost out on something, she feels like. She wishes she could have played more, been freer, more irresponsible, not 50 at 20. And she, like me, has experienced that loss of her children leaving the nest, and how she wishes, as I do at times, that I'd love to have them back as those wily, kind of curious, energetic balls of wonder and enmeshed love. And yet, she has mastered, like Atlas, how to love the journey because it's made her who she is. She has learned, actually, it's in her choices and of letting go of what she occasionally believes would have led to a different, more fulfilling life, is short-sighted and not true. You can do the work she does now because she was a mule, right, in her professional life, which in turn actually gives her the freedom to own her own business and work from wherever she wants to work. She can look at her kids and, yes, miss them as young children and have sorrow about that, and still realize that, yes, while she will always have a loss about that, she can put that sorrow down and turn back and see it for the glitter that it was, and to see that the past has led her to see the gift of what she has now. She got to influence who her children were and watch who they are now. She's been a witness to their life, and she has learned how to integrate her children's best qualities of lightheartedness and righteous passion and a striving to be the best that they can be into her own life, because her children have made her larger and better and fuller. Truth is, this friend has given me an enormous gift. She has taught me that we are able to focus on the gift of the past and how it glitters and sparkles if we look back. Then our past doesn't just reek of the loss or sorrow or challenges of it. And in so doing, we catch up to ourselves in our life in real time. I know I've told you this, but about 4 times I did this for my own dad when he died, but I've done it for other people when they died. And I wash someone's eyes for all they have seen. I wash their ears for everything they've heard. Wash their mouth for everything they've said or sung. I wash their hands for everything they've done or created. And I wash their feet for everywhere they've been. Every time I do this, though, I'm struck by how I am inevitably holding someone's hand, which is wrinkled and kind of used up. It's scarred sometimes, always filled with age spots and somewhat like joints that are a little messy. And yet, you know what? They are beautiful hands because they carry the journey of that person's life. Who they touched and held, what they created. Their hands hold their flourishing, they're connecting, and they're embracing. So sometime soon, friends, in the quiet company of yourself, I invite you to bless your life, the whole of it. I want you just to sit quietly somehow, somewhere in the next week or something, and put your hands into a bowl kind of shape. And look into your hands and notice all the pieces of your past that you mourn or miss or feel empty without. All those tough stories that you cling to, you cling to and cling to you. But don't put them down. I don't want you to take them out and put them over here. I want you to add them to that bowl of your hands. I want you to add everything. Place the good stories along with the tough ones, the stories that gave life to your life. And not just all the stories, but add to your hands all the gifts that your difficult stories led to or opened up for you. And allow all of those partial stories to merge and meld into one great story. Because in your hands, you all have an amazing story. The story of all of you. And here's the thing, the odd and wonderful thing. The more you add, the less weighty it's going to feel. It won't feel like a burden to carry, but a blessing. And it will surely start to glitter. I promise you. And I promise you, you will see it. You will be saved by diamonds, as Atlas was. The diamonds that are your life, your entire life, the whole of all of it. And in the end, the stone you thought the gods placed on your back as a burden, you will now most assuredly recognize as a gift. May it be so. Amen.
Let's close singing together again. You can get your gray hymnal. And we'll sing 347, Gather the Spirit. Please rise in body or spirit.
join hands for the closing words. Whatever we can do, our dream we can do, let us begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. May we ever be bold in our living and in our loving, though I need to hear a big amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, Bert.
Thank you. That was awesome. I heard you last night too. Great stuff.
Yeah, that turned out okay.
Bad handwriting. It says rescue in his way. I can do it better. I was in a rush and I don't have very good handwriting.
Oh, that's funny. That's too funny. All right, well, I played better at the rehearsal, but that sometimes happens.
That worked out.
This is more